But back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know, he didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So I can't, it's not a popularity contest. So, I don't know, I would certainly look at the facts.
So Diddy, who's on trial, may have just found out that he has a get-out-of-jail-free card. You heard me, a get-out-of-jail-free card. Let me explain. So President Trump was asked by reporters if he thought about pardoning Diddy. You see, President Trump and Diddy were friends when Trump was on The Apprentice.
If you didn't know, P. Diddy has been begging Donald Trump for a presidential pardon. And Donald Trump literally was like, not on the agenda. Sorry, don't know what I can do for you. But because then the next day, he pardoned Todd Chrisley, the flamboyant fraudster guy, and then NBA YoungBoy also. And he's just pardoning like the most random people ever. Meanwhile, P. Diddy is like, please, like, I'll do anything.
You know, Trump loved the hip hop community at one point. Hip hop loved him.
He would pop up at events. We respected him as a shrewd businessman. He definitely embodied the hip hop spirit, but God had different plans for him.
Will President Donald Trump pardon his good friend P. Diddy? Now, this is a question he was asked while in the Oval Office by the reporters, if he will pardon P. Diddy. Now, Donald Trump and P. Diddy have a long history going way back, all the way back to when Donald Trump himself was on The Apprentice. They formulated some kind of friendship while he was on that show. How far this friendship stretched, who knows? But it stretched deep enough for him to be asked and for other people to be asking if Donald Trump will give pardon to P. Diddy and allow his friend to walk free. Now, P. Diddy is currently under arrest for the supposed many crimes against women and men, all people he worked with, all manner of things, the most vicious, the most insane allegations right now that are against P. Diddy, who was a big hip-hop mogul. I mean, he was the owner of Bad Boy Records, probably best known for Notorious B.I.G. He was a main figure in what was the East and West Coast rivalry. You had on one side, you had P. Diddy and Notorious B.I.G. Then on the other side, you had Suge Knight and Tupac. This was the scene in 90s hip-hop. I mean, it did not get bigger than that. This was where P. Diddy really made a step in music. And after he catapulted into fame, I mean, the release of Biggie's, I think, Life After Death album after he just died, it went platinum many times, I believe, and it made P. Diddy millions. Throughout the 2000s, I believe he touched almost $1 billion, if not more. So he was a very powerful figure. Now, you might say he was the Harvey Weinstein of music. And it's funny because Harvey Weinstein himself had this massive downfall. Of course, he was a big movie mogul, known for working, probably for the more casual viewer, his best known person who he worked with is probably Quentin Tarantino. Quentin called him like a father figure. So But he, of course, Harvey, he's having that downfall of his allegations, and now P Diddy is having his downfall of his allegations. So that's how big P Diddy was. That's how big and powerful he was. He controlled a lot of things in music. There's even stories of up and coming artists not signing a deal with him, and P Diddy calling across country to all the radio stations saying, "I don't want you to play this guy's music. I don't want you to mention this guy's name." I mean, that's the power level that some of these people reach. Now, the crimes he has been accused of, like I say, is very, very, very bad, and it runs very deep. The question is, how deep do they run? Supposedly everyone's involved, you know, from the biggest of the names in the music industry to the movie industry. You even have guys like famous basketball player LeBron James talking in the past about Diddy. Now there's a famous thing what Diddy always used to say: there is no party like a Diddy party. And you would hear so many people say this. It's insane. Like I say, we just mentioned LeBron. He said it also. Everybody said it. And everybody attended, even guys like Leonardo DiCaprio. P. Diddy said he was one of his favorite attendees to his party. P. Diddy had this massive bed in his garden, baby oil everywhere. It was known to be crazy. Now, in the past, Trump, like I say, he had that connection with P. Diddy. How far that connection goes, who knows? Who knows? But it's far enough for it to get to the Oval Office years later to ask, will you pardon him? Now, do I think Donald will pardon him? Who knows? Donald himself has had a lot of allegations placed upon him, especially from women. So he's got a lot of heat on him right now. So does he really want to go and pardon P. Diddy? Now, even if P. Diddy, let's say, was pardoned, how far can his career go now? Because in the modern world now, he's a meme. That's how people view him, no matter what music he would bring out now, no matter what artist he brings out now. It's going to be bad. If P. Diddy brought out music now, people are just going to ridicule him, bring up all these allegations. And the worst thing is, what artist would want to work with P. Diddy? Because the moment you work for P. Diddy now, your comments and your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever your platform you're on, is going to be filled with the same thing that you got diddied. You got diddied to get your contract. So who in their right mind, knowing what is known, will work with Diddy now? So even if he gets out, I don't think his career is there. I don't think anyone would really want to go near him, famous-wise, non-famous-wise. But he could still be pardoned, come out and live his life however he pleases with the amount of money he has made. Like I say, who knows? And America loves a comeback. I mean, if you look at all their movies, they love comebacks. Regardless of how much they hate someone, they love a comeback. But will Donald Trump pardon him is the question. Who knows? It's America. I would not be surprised if he did. I'm not saying he will. I would not be surprised if he did. America is that kind of place. You know, the criminals in America are like famous people in itself. You look how they treat their criminals. You look how they treated their serial killers. They treated them like royalty almost. Cult figures, cult heroes, scam artists. You know, they love them. You look in movies, they can't help but make movies about them. So P. Diddy, he did horrific things, but the track record in America and the track record of Trump, I would not be surprised if he tried to pardon him. But like I say, even if he does, who in their right mind would go anywhere near Diddy knowing what they know? But like I say, Diddy also has huge amounts of money to potentially buy his way out. or cut down the number of years significantly, or get him into some sort of house arrest system. Like I say, America is built for the rich, so a rich person getting pardoned from jail wouldn't be so surprising. But like I say, these allegations are still ongoing. They are still ongoing. He has still not been charged guilty, this, that, or the other. So you can't really tell for truth until the trials are over and we see what the information is. There's a lot of information. I wish they televised it like they did with, what was it, Johnny Depp. I think they televised this. They should have televised Diddy. It would have broke record numbers. You know, everyone's talking about it. But will he be pardoned? Will he not? And what do you think the relationship between Donald Trump and Diddy was? Trump doesn't drink. That is a well known fact. He doesn't drink alcohol at all. So him going to a party, who knows? You can still go. You can still, you know, vibe kind of thing. But how much was that friendship between Trump and Diddy? Is it a big enough friendship to pardon him? Or was it a big enough friendship where, you know, after hours they were, you know, partying? Who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments. This has been Reaction Call. I'll see you next time.